Okay, good morning. We're back in our special business meeting, the open portion. Council had asked staff to provide a little bit more information around some of our budget items prior to the public information meeting, which is happening this Thursday from 4:37 at the Ledge. So I'll hand it over to you, Mr. Russell.
Thank you very much, Mayor Elliott. If we could ask council for a slight interruption prior to our discussion on the additional information to provide to council on the service level change for 2020. I'd like to ask our acting CFO, Linda Klassen, to make a request, please.
So, Linda Clausen, our Manager of Financial Operations, and our acting CFO. Back when we were doing the community enhancement grants, there was a request for $5,000 for the Squamish Helping Hands. However, a motion was not recorded. So we need a record from the council for the $5,000 for the Squamish Helping Hands for their outreach funding. It was included in our list. The council talked about it. They agreed, but they did not make the motion.
The original ask was larger, was it not, Ms. Klassen?
The original ask was $10,000.
And then council had settled on 5. We just didn't.
Council had settled on 5, however, there was no motion in the minutes.
Moved by Councillor Race, seconded by Councillor Herford, that Helping Hands is supported with a $5,000 grant through our Community Enhancement Grant Program. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, with respect to the $475,000 that was included as a service level change for workforce capacity review, we'd like to provide the following breakdown. There were 5 positions which had a 0 net tax impact in 2020. They're related. Some of these positions, and I will identify these specifically, the film event liaison position was identified on your list. The HR coordinator position, which is being funded by a contract reduction, was identified on your list. The bylaw enforcement position was identified on your list. Program, emergency program admin support was identified, and the facility plan development director was shown on your original list as, quote, below the line. Decision was made that will be capitalized financed through capitalization to a project. And so therefore it will also have nil impact on the 2020 tax. Those positions are listed on the information, the service level change information that was provided. They are not part of the $475,000 workforce contingency.
And they still have a net 0 impact on tax going forward?
They have a net 0 impact.
Even in 2021?
Sorry?
Even in years forward, 2021?
The bylaw enforcement bylaw enforcement officer may have some impact in 2021. A portion of that position is anticipated to support the solid waste program, single use, things around that, and is being sponsored by the utility. If that is completed in 2020, then there would be a tax requirement to support, let's say, that half of the position in 2020. And that has been factored into the numbers that you see. Okay, so next.
Hit the arrow.
Okay. The other positions that were identified in their administration requests, we had identified an additional firefighter, was on the list. We had identified an IT security position. and we had identified economic development support. The IT security position is supported by the capacity review. The economic development support position is a position which supports council's strategic plan.
Are these prorated salaries for 2020?
The amounts that you are seeing there are prorated.
2/3.
And with respect specifically to the WMC report, the capacity review report, within that report, there is a recommendation for additional executive support, finance and procurement, legislative services, an additional HR advisor, and additional hours for communications. All of those items are identified here, and all of those items would relate to increased FTE counts. The numbers that you are seeing here reflect the prorated amount and the impact on 2020. Oh, sorry. Okay, so then I'm going to reverse that so that you don't have a blank screen and suggest that those are the changes recommended. There are, as you can see here, a number of positions that are recommended by the capacity review, and on the previous slide there were a number of positions that were recommended as part of the administration recommendations, and those primarily are around support for strategic plan and also capacity related specifically to IT, but IT is. So that's the basic breakdown of the 475,000 and positions associated with that. We're providing this information to council today so that council is aware and can address issues that may be raised by the public when the public, at the public open house on Thursday. So as you don't say, well, administration hasn't told us what the 475 is. So this is what we believe is required and is an outcome of the WMC report, and also meets the needs of council and council's strategic plans. With that, we will open the floor to questions.
Councillor Stoner?
On the bylaw enforcement piece, if I am optimistic and suggest that we do achieve all the zero waste reduction components in 2020, are we committed to annualizing that position, or can we reduce it to a part-time?
Ms. Arthurs?
If we can roll it back, absolutely.
Any other questions? Councillor Pengil?
Just for clarity, because I heard salary mentioned, but the numbers we're talking about aren't technically just what someone's going to see on the paycheck. This is our total onboarding cost, and that is the whole cost of bringing on these people.
So if I might, so we are committed to meeting the budgeted amount, and how we will achieve that through our recruitment, our onboarding, our benefit load is calculating the timing of the hires in order to hit that mark for 2020 and not go over.
You're good. Councillor Stoner?
And then can staff speak to the full tax impact come 2021 when these positions are annualized?
We anticipate that the full tax impact in 2021 will be approximately $700,000 for all of these positions. That will be the net impact, so that would take into consideration the fact that some of these positions are being funded through either through revenue sources, conversion of existing contracts, or being charged to capital projects. Those costs and cost recovery methods do not have a direct tax levy impact and are not included in that $700,000 number.
But it's only a $200,000, 225 lift over
Relative to
this year.
2020. Thank you.
All right. Councillor Anderson?
Yes, so reading from the capacity review report on under legislative
Councillor
services.
Anderson?
Elections support.
Let me ask a general question.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
how do we budget for elections? I can respond to that if you want.
Great.
So every year, we collect some money in order to put it into a provision, an elections provision, that will allow us to hold our council and trustee elections, as well as a provision, a contingency in case we have a referendum or another voting. So there's money in there for the total cost of an election, a little bit of money for a referendum, and if we need to staff up to backfill, because it takes Charlene and I a lot of time, and there's a lot of work involved, that money is in there as well, so we can hire a part-time person or two.
My question really is what has changed with administering elections? It would seem to me that some of the responsibilities have been removed or alleviated with the province taking on certain functions with candidate finances, or I was wondering what specifically are you looking at increased workload coming forward with elections?
That didn't change the amount of work it takes Charlene and I and Melissa to run the election. The campaign financing was always handled only by the candidate or their finance officer, and then we would receive it and submit it to the province, which takes 30 seconds. It was up to the province even at that time we would just accept what was submitted. We didn't analyze it or look at it for lawfulness even at that time. So that's why the province cut us out.
Thank you. Any other questions before this goes to our Thursday night open house? All right. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Motion to terminate. Moved by Councillor Stoner, seconded by Councillor Pettingill. All those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. We'll have a 5-minute recess before committee of the whole.